Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Super Soul Farm, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and bestie and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York City, Kaustubha. Welcome to our show. Welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam show. Wisdom of the Sages is a study of wisdom literature of India, focusing on the Srimad Bhagavatam. Fantastic for yoga teachers, fans of yoga culture, who want to add a spiritual direction to their life. Does that fit? Mara, are you a fan of yoga culture?
I am.
She is. What does it qualify to be a fan of yoga culture? You eat khichdi, you scrape your tongue. We already went through that. You do yoga. You do some yoga occasionally.
Mm-hmm.
We are, I've lost track with what day of the lockdown we're at. My kids keep asking me, when's this thing over? And I'm just like, don't even try to figure it out, kids. Well, they said it was 15 days. I was like, don't even try to figure it out. It's unprecedented where no one knows what's going to happen the next day. But whenever I get put in a situation, be it the pandemic or anything like this, I always look at it as like, here it is. Krishna's trying to make me dependent again. Just when I think I've got my world figured out, I'm always left in this position of like, I can't figure anything out. I'm completely dependent. And so it's really good for a person practicing bhakti to feel dependent like this. You know what I mean? It's like, no one can make a plan.
You know, we asked Raghunath Swami a question in the interview the other day about, you know, like just keeping your head together, keeping mentally stable, you know, through the different challenges that can come up, whether you're all alone or whether you're crammed in with other people, you know, due to this circumstance. And I was so interested to see where he was going to come from. And he started by talking about it's because we all have this tendency, the need to control things, that we suffer.
Oh, that's a great angle.
Right.
Yeah.
And so we have to have a certain level of recognizing what we do have some control over and what we don't have. And when it comes to the stuff that we don't have any control over, that's where we really need to be able to let go, you know. And we'll be much more stable, you know, if we do, and much more effective with what we can control. What much more, you know, we'll have a much greater ability to actually make a positive changes in this world if we let go of what we can't control and recognize, hey, you know what, that's ultimately in God's hands. The question isn't if I can change it, it's how I respond to it, and then focus my energy where I can make a positive change.
You know, Raghunath Swami too. I mean, he has a rough schedule of his life, but still he always leaves up. You know, it's like on pilgrimage, I've noticed. It's like some people, when I take people on pilgrimage, they want an itinerary, exact itinerary of what's going on tomorrow, what's going on the next day. What are we doing at 3 p.m. tomorrow? Some people some people plan it. Some people lead pilgrimage, they plan it like a year in advance. Then we're going to do this, then we're going to do that. And I follow Raghunath Swami's lead where you get a rough idea. Don't hold me to this, but this is how I interpret Raghunath Swami. You can correct me if you think I'm on the right page. You get a rough idea of what you're doing, and you leave room for magic.
Leave room for magic.
Because
that's a tattoo right there.
If you try to leave room for magic, that's it. That's a mug.
Okay.
It goes mug, t-shirt, tattoo in that order. So if you like it, we graduated to mug. First, we keep it as a hashtag. That's our very first one. Leave room for the magic.
Okay.
But it's true, though, because if you try to organize too tightly and try to control, this is what we're going to do at 2:30 p.m. From 2:30 to 2:45, we're going to walk over to the Ganges. If you try to zip it up that tight, there's no room for magic to happen. Because on that walk to the Ganges.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
right?
You meet
this
someone.
like magical lady or this magical man who stops and talks to you for 45 minutes, and you just sit down and listen like this.
Right. And if you're just to stick to that schedule, then you miss out on that magic.
Yeah. So anyway, it's great. It's great. So this is what's going on right now. We're leaving room. Think about that pandemic is we're leaving room for like magic to happen in our life.
Sometimes the show, you kind of have to leave the room for the magic, right? Like, we don't know what we're going to do sometimes.
Yeah. You thought I was just disorganized.
Okay.
I'm just very
You're leaving
magical.
room for the magic. Gotcha.
I'm just leaving room for the magic today. Where are all your notes, Raghunath? I'm just leaving room. It's going to be a magical show today. Hey,
you know why? Part of the reason why it's going to be a magical show?
Why? Because we're going to announce our guest?
No, because this is 108.
Today's 108.
Yeah.
We got to do something special for 108. What can we do special? Can
we don't know. Just leave room for the magic. Just
all right. I am, but I'm trying to think.
No. Just leave room for the magic. Don't try to impose your ideas on this.
I'd like to be the assistant of the magic. Can we have a special giveaway? I'm trying to think if I have an extra journey home. I don't. We could give away a book.
To who? To what? What are you talking about?
Anybody who asks a question on our Zoom answers a question on our Zoom board.
What's the question?
I specialize this because me and my kids play Krishna trivia every day. Do you ever play that game? I'm sure you don't. It's an app called Heads Up.
Never even heard of it.
Mara's laughing because she plays it. You put it on your head. You put your iPhone on your head. And
I've seen people do that on
it's actually quite good. So
I didn't know it was a game. I thought it was just like an app for doing stuff on Instagram. You
put it on your head and it says something like you can pick, whatever. Revolutionary War. Put it up like that. And it was a battle between England and the United States and the Minutemen. And you got to like talk it in. Whoever you try to help that person see how many they get. Okay. Anyway, we've made a Krishna conscious one. So it's sort of like, like I'll do it with you, Kaustubha. Ready? I'll flick it up. He was split in half by Bhima.
Jarasandha,
right? Like ding. It's where Krishna had his childhood Leela.
Vrindavan.
Yeah, but ding. He was one of the 6 Goswamis. He was the elder brother.
Sanatana Goswami.
Ding. Like that. You and me should make our own one, man.
We should. You can design it yourself.
People to download it. Huh?
You can design it yourself.
No, you can't. We just made it with papers. Pieces of paper.
I see. Okay.
This is how we.
Well, we've got to hook up with
this is what we do
app
after
developer.
The pandemic.
Maybe
Krishna conscious. Heads up.
Maybe there's an app
this
developer.
Whole thing is like a game, isn't it?
Okay, listen to me. Maybe there's an app developer out there that can do this for us.
And make new.
Do you even hear me? Just keep going.
Hey, all right. So listen, let's think of a trivia question and we'll give a journey home or something, or a journey within. I think I have an extra copy of Journey Within. Okay. Mara, and then we'll ask it on their board.
When
by the way,
do that?
if you'd like to join us on our, we have 126 people on Zoom. So mostly people listen. Mostly people are the others out there. We don't even know you're out there. You're sort of like spying on us. But we have all these people that we see on a regular basis. If they don't show up on Zoom, I start to either worry about them or become suspicious. What happened to them? But anyway, if you're on Zoom, welcome and thanks. And if you'd like to join our strange little Zoom family, you can join us by emailing our executive, our very educated executive producer, Mara, at wisdomofthesages108@gmail.com. We make you jump through a couple hoops before you get here. We don't make it super duper public, and we all have to get a tattoo on our neck, and then you're in. That's it. All right, so Mara, Kaustubha.
What's going to be the question, Raghunath?
What's that?
The question. What's the question? The quiz question.
Oh, I'll think of the quiz question. Mara, can you remind me before we end about the quiz question?
Yeah.
I got to think of a good one. I pulled out some verses in glorification in the Bhagavatam, and I want your blessings to read them. They're by Sanatana Goswami.
You certainly have my approval.
Sometimes when you read blessings, prayers to the Bhagavatam by great saints, then it sort of inspires you to read the Srimad Bhagavatam.
I don't feel I'm qualified to bless you, but I'm eager to hear these. So I thank you for doing it, for being about to do it.
Anyway, I think you are qualified to bless me.
Yeah, well.
I've heard you say "bless you" when people sneeze. You must be doing something right.
But no, that's my praying that God will bless them, but that I'm not blessing.
Oh yeah, God bless you. You're right. Okay. All right. Listen to this. This is from Sanatana Goswami. He was one of the 6 Goswamis, elder brother of Rupa Goswami. And these were one of those very, very like highly qualified saints during Renaissance India. Well, Columbus was looking for it's interestingly enough, this was when Columbus was looking for India, found North America, and the real jewel was happening. There was a massive, almost like a psychic viral push to go to Vrindavan, this holy place in India. You can't even understand it. People were just dropping everything they were doing, leaving their positions, leaving everything. There was queens leaving their kingdoms to go to this one holy place in India where there was a massive bhakti revolution going on. And it was headed up by Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, but many, many great saints came to Vrindavan at this time, which was always a holy place. It's been a holy place for millennia. Back at the time of, Dhruva Maharaj went to Vrindavan. Right? He went to Mahavan or
Madhuvan.
Madhuvan. All right, so let's hear what Sanatana Goswami said about the Srimad Bhagavatam. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O nectar churned from the ocean of all Vedic literature, O most prominent transcendental fruit of the Vedas, O you who are enriched with jewels of all spiritual philosophical conclusions, O you who grant spiritual vision to all the people of the world, O life breath of the Vaishnavas, that means the devotees of Vishnu. O Lord, you are the sun which has arisen to dispel the darkness of Kali Yuga. You are actually Lord Krishna who has returned among us.
Wow.
Isn't that beautiful?
Beautiful. Very beautiful.
Got a couple more. Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
O Srimad Bhagavatam, I offer my respectful obeisances to you. By reading you, one attains transcendental bliss. True, for your syllables rain pure love of God upon the reader. You are always to be served by everyone, and you are an incarnation of Lord Krishna. O Srimad Bhagavatam, my only friend, my companion, my teacher, oh, my great wealth, oh, my deliverer, oh, my good fortune, oh, my bliss, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. O Srimad Bhagavatam, O giver of saintliness to the unsaintly. Bing.
Dented cans. That's
the dented cans. Oh, undenter of cans. You are the transcendental metalsmith. Oh, uplifter of the very fallen. Bing. Please do not ever leave me. Please become manifest upon my heart and my throat, accompanied by pure love of Krishna. Isn't that nice?
Instead of ear, nose, and throat, they got heart and throat.
Right, like an ears, nose, and throat doctor.
Anyway, there's something that was, those are very beautiful verses, and you can just read them and they go, but actually every single thing that he said there was like very important and full of meaning. But he started off by saying that you are the nectar churned from all the Vedic literature. What was that? Could you read that again?
Yeah.
Nectar churned from the ocean of the Vedic literature.
Ocean of all Vedic scriptures.
Okay, so this point is so significant and important to understand, and it was largely the work of the Goswamis, particularly of Jiva Goswami, Sanatana's nephew.
Right.
What one really important thing that they tried to do, or they did, is that they were saying, there's all this Vedic literature, and it's very difficult because teachings are going on at different levels throughout that. As a whole, the population has a difficult time for understanding what's most important and where is it all leading to. And so then it's summarized. Vyasadeva summarized his Vedic literature in the Vedanta Sutra, sometimes called the Brahma Sutra. And so that's a collection of verses that are very cryptic. And so even though you have that summary, it's difficult to really understand it because the nature of those verses is that they're so cryptic. So now the Bhagavatam is the explanation of the Vedanta Sutra, but it's like fluffed out fully, right? It is the commentary on Vedanta Sutra written by the author of Vedanta Sutra himself. And so if you want to understand his purpose and his meaning behind the Vedic scriptures, how the author himself understood where it all, how it gradually builds and where it all leads and what the conclusion of it all is, then you go to Bhagavatam, and the Bhagavatam gives that to you. And the Bhagavatam is going to clarify that it all leads to Vrindavan. It all leads to the feet of Krishna. It all leads to pure devotional service. It's beyond rituals for getting the things of this world. It's beyond renunciation for escaping the pains of this world, karma and jnana. It's ultimately bhakti, which is devotional love. That's where all the yoga, all of the philosophy, all of the Vedanta, it all builds to that point. So therefore, when he says, you are the nectar churned from the ocean of all the Vedic literature, that's what he means. That if you churn that all the Vedas and it's there in the Vedas.
You got to understand butter. You got to understand how you make butter before you even understand. When you churn cream, or they make yogurt, some people churn it from yogurt, something magical happens. And you can do that experiment at home if you're a non-vegan. You can put heavy cream in a Vitamix, and all of a sudden it starts to whip, and you get whipped cream. And if you keep going with it, something happens. It goes bloop, and it becomes two different foods. It becomes buttermilk and butter.
You get the essence in the form of the butter.
The churning is the boom. It's the popping up of all the Vedic teachings. I just had to
take that butter.
But you're back on.
No, and then you could take that butter and refine it still more until you get ghee. Right. So like you're saying, you have to whip it, and then you have to whip it good, and then you get down to that very essence, you know. And so the Bhagavatam has been whipped, and then it's been.
I hope everybody
again.
got that little joke. And some of you are laughing. Some of you are like, "Yeah, you do have to whip it good." I made butter. You need a lot of whipping.
You have to whip it and then whip it good. You have to do it again. Oh, we got Mohan. It says devotees. Very good.
Devotee, you're good, Mohan. You're clever. And it's Mohan's second language. That's an amazing thing about people.
Well done.
Okay.
But let me just just to conclude that thought. Yeah. So then again, beyond, within the Upanishads, within the Vedas, there is a devotional essence there, but it's not so apparent until you churn it. You churn it more, you get to Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita. You keep churning, you're deep into the Puranas, and you churn it to its very essence. You get to the Bhagavatam, and you keep churning it, and you get to the 10th canto, and you keep churning it, you get to the Rasa Lila. It's all about that pure devotion, that completely true unconditional love is the. So when Sanatana Goswami says, you are the nectar churned from all the Vedic literature, understand, you can go to this Bhagavatam and understand where it all leads. Then you can go look back at it all and understand it in perspective. All right.
That is magic. That is magic.
We're leaving room for the magic today.
Leaving room for the magic today. What was that other one that we just read? I just posted them. If you're new to I just posted them so you could read them on the chat board. Those on Zoom.
Yeah. We can share them on Patreon today.
Oh yeah. Please manifest. What was the one that said, "Don't leave me"?
Don't leave me.
Me and Kaustubha have this. We had a bromance yesterday. I was on a bike ride. I was walking through Central Park picking flowers, and we called each other on the phone. So and we just started talking about how we're fortunate, and appreciating our fortune to be close to the Bhagavatam, close to Guru, close to devotees. Yet we've been doing this for a while, because over the years, it's very easy to slip up, to trip up. And we've seen it happen. We've seen people just like, they get into a headspace where they create some horrible offense. And it's almost like that sweet saintly company, that Sangha, like we have on Zoom here, like we have on the podcast. it's almost like you get ejected from it. And it comes
You-
really from that one thing we were talking about yesterday, Kaustubh, which I hope everybody did, 24 hours of not offending anybody, not criticizing anyone.
Mhm, mhm.
Would you say that is the biggest, that's the biggest sort of boot in your butt to get you kicked out of the company of saintly people?
Well, absolutely, and it is known just to emphasize that point, particularly when you get in this very critical mentality towards other bhakti yogis, that is so destructive that the analogy is used of the Raghu.
The analogy of criticizing?
Yeah.
Mad elephant.
Mara beats Raghu on the hot seat. She said it's called the mad elephant, right? Because
Yes.
like we don't generally see mad, but like I guess it's in that, what do they call it when
Oh,
they
I
get-
see them. All you got to do is Google up or YouTube search mad elephants. They're all
Really?
over YouTube.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do they
I've
call that
done
when the elephant's kind of in heat or whatever? There's a term for that. I forget.
I don't know about that.
Okay.
But anyway, go on with the analogy.
When that elephant goes mad, it gets destructive. It just tears, and there's nothing you can do, but it just wipes everything out. It's not like a weed in the garden. When that mad elephant gets in the garden, it destroys the garden. So we have this little garden of our creepers of devotional service growing. And if you let, it's that offense isn't just something that may be like a weed in that garden. It is a mad elephant tearing up that garden. And so that is it is said that that's what we have to be most careful of. And if we are careful, then we're cultivating the mentality of a true Vaishnava, of a true Bhakti yogi. And if we're not concerned with that, we haven't understood it. We haven't understood this practice yet.
Yeah, that's the big one. Offending devotees. And I found even in my own spiritual life, my biggest times I've been really struggling in my spiritual life, there was offenses in my mind. Offenses in my mind that came out of the mouth. And I tend to give, and you give credit to what, well, it's not for me. I see things different. They're too much like this. But what happens is we're not choosing to get away from the company of devotees. We're actually getting kicked out because that mentality is not welcome.
Mm.
What do you think of that?
We make these mountains out of molehills, something very unimportant or insignificant. We begin to see it as very significant based on the dictation of our ego, really, And that's where we have to value these relationships so much. We have to value the connections that we have so much that we really treasure them. And we say, I'm not going to let any molehill turn into a mountain and disconnect me. I'm not going to get confused like that, Like you and I were saying, like one relationship, very primary in our lives is with Raghunath Swami.
Yeah.
And somehow, we're fortunate that not only can we hear from him, but we even can consult with him or serve him in some special way. And when it comes time when we leave these bodies of ours, which isn't that far away, it's not that far down the road. Will we be pure devotees? Will we have a mind when we sit down to chant the holy name that'll be entirely absorbed in it, and we'll feel ecstatic symptoms? And hey, if Krishna is merciful to us, that's possible. But we may not be there. We may not be perfectly pure. But what we hope to be able to say is we gave our lives to serve these pure souls, and between now and that time, let's not do anything that interferes with us being able to do that. Let's not make some mountain out of a molehill and walk off in some kind of huff or something like that, which we see people do,
Yeah, walking off in huffs. We had such a beautiful phone call yesterday, Kaustubha, didn't we?
I did. I enjoyed it, Raghu. Thank you for that.
Okay, I'm ready for it's episode 108. It's the episode 108. And Mary, you're going to be the timekeeper on this because the first person to write in without using Google or internet, etc., okay, gets the prize. Okay, I'm going to have 3 levels of prizes: reasonably easy, little harder, and more harder. Okay.
More
So
harder.
Mary, you got to see who's first. Everybody get to your keyboards.
You can ask this right now?
Right now. Ready?
All right.
For the entry-level pride.
Can I compete in this too?
No.
All right. I already got a copy.
Ready? Young Krishna went to Mathura to wrestle what king? What evil king? Quickly.
Oh, David Stallings gets it.
Yeah.
That was fast. How did he type it so fast? My God.
Wow.
That was incredible.
Okay, number 2. Should we say initiated devotees can't do this? Maybe. Oh, okay. No, let's just do it anyway. Number 2.
That was the reasonably easy one?
That was reasonably easy.
Okay.
And some people think that's hard, but it'll become easier. Next question, number 2. I'm not going to tell what the prizes are, but they're going to get progressively better. Number 2 is, before beating Kamsa, Krishna and Balaram wrestled and killed 2 other demon wrestlers. Name those wrestlers.
It's harder.
It's a little harder.
I mean,
No, we didn't kill Balaram.
there we go. We got it.
Parmananda.
Parmananda.
You can't do it. Balaram is not included. He's gonna do, sorry, Parmananda. Keep going. We already got it. So
Now we got it. So it's
all
like
right,
it's
you're
out
gonna have
there.
to hold. You're gonna have to. All right, that one doesn't count.
You got to make it rules. You didn't tell him that he couldn't compete.
Okay. You should know who you are if you can't compete. Okay.
In other words, if you know the answer, you can't compete.
Okay. All right. I'm going to replace that one with the next one. In the Rajasuya sacrifice.
Well, let's put it this way. It's got to be from you. Maybe it has to be from one of your sweet baby Krishnas or something like that. Because
Never get it. In the Rajasuya sacrifice, who's the demon that got his head cut off? Who's the demon king that got his head cut off with Krishna's chakra?
All right. Well, it's already up there.
Yeah.
Maybe
You didn't even finish the
got
question.
Krishna got it.
She's good. All right. I'm going to hold off with the big one for later. That's coming. All right. So remind me who those are. We got Krishna Drew.
So that was Krishna Drew.
David Stallings.
Successfully got that one.
She was ready on the keyboard, waiting. She had the Krishna book open. All right.
All right, let's start reading, huh?
Let's start reading the Srimad Bhagavatam.
See, I know now I don't say let's get into the Bhagavatam because then you say we're already in the Bhagavatam. This is the Bhagavatam. So now I say let's start reading.
Let's finish the chapter. How about that, Prabhu?
Okay.
I say we finish the chapter and get on with more Bhagavatam.
Great.
We've got 18,000 verses. Isn't that great? It's good to know. Like there's a lot of room here. Okay, let's start with this prayer. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the personality of Godhead Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta priyeshva badreshu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtaki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service to the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Tamarandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Alrighty. We're reading Canto 1, Chapter 10, Text 29. The children of these ladies are Prajumna, Samba, Amba, etc. Ladies like Rukmini, Satyabhama, and Jambavati were forcibly taken away by him for their Swayamvara ceremonies after he defeated many powerful kings headed by Shishupal. We just talked about Shishupal.
We did.
Other ladies were also forcibly taken away after he killed Bhaumasura and thousands of his assistants. All of these ladies are glorious. That's in reference to sort of the warriors. They'd have these. There was different types of marriages, including love marriages. There were love marriages in India.
Love marriage
It
was
wasn't
there.
all arranged marriages, but some were done by kings when they would fight over the princess. So that's what they mean by some were taken away by force.
And you know, within the Bhagavatam, there's that incredible letter written by Rukmini to Krishna.
I
Right?
should read that letter sometime.
We got to read that letter sometime. That Rukmini was about to be married to Shishupal, right?
Yeah.
And she was not into that at all. And she had never met Krishna, but she had heard of him from the Brahmanas.
Sure.
So she wrote this letter, snuck it out by the Brahmana delivered to Krishna, where she opens up her heart. And the mood of that letter is the mood that the devotee of Krishna can really, cultivate. Krishna, I haven't met you, but I've heard about you. I want you to come and rescue me,
That's
And
my
she tells
letter.
him- That's my
All
letter.
right, tomorrow you got to read that letter, Kaustubha.
Okay, let's read that letter tomorrow. And she the expressions of the heart there are very nice for us to meditate on. So maybe we do that tomorrow then.
Okay, next one, text 30. All these women auspiciously glorified their lives despite their being without individuality and without purity. Their husband, the lotus-eyed personality of Godhead, never left them alone at home. He always pleased their hearts by making valuable presentations. 31.
So I think that was the end of the prayers of the ladies of Hastinapur.
And what's this? While the ladies of the capital of Hastinapur were greeting him and talking in this way, the Lord, smiling, accepted their good qualities, and casting the grace of his glance over them, he departed from the city.
Did yours say good qualities? Because mine said good greetings.
Maybe. Well, I like to add things. While the ladies of the capital of Hastinapur were greeting him and talking in this way, the Lord, smiling, accepted their good greetings. You're right.
Good greetings.
And casting the grace of his glance over them, he departed from the city.
Oh, heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. Krishna's leaving. Maharaj Yudhisthira, although no one's enemy, engaged 4 divisions of defense: horse, elephant, chariot, and army, to accompany Lord Krishna, the enemy of the asuras, the demons. To accompany Lord Krishna. Oh, I get it.
Enemy of the asuras.
Basically, he's sending out an entourage with Krishna. Yudhisthira is.
Bodyguards.
Yeah, bodyguards, basically. The Maharaj did this because of the enemy and also out of affection for the Lord.
Yeah. There's there's some interesting things in this verse.
Please churn it out, Kaustubha, for us.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. But in the commentary,
you are like the vegan butter churnerer.
Okay. In the commentary, Prabhupada says, if required, Lord Krishna himself was sufficient to defend himself from the attack of others. So he's leaving. It's kind of like if Krishna was leaving New York City, the mayor might say, you know what, we're sending this whole entourage and you're going to go with this, we're going to protect you as you go. But Prabhupada's saying here, Krishna could protect himself. He didn't need any kind of elephants and armies or anything like that to protect him. But still, he accepted all the arrangements made by Maharaj Yudhisthira because he could not disobey the king, who was his elder cousin. So Krishna sees Yudhisthira as his elder, and he relates to him in that way. And then the commentary goes on. The Lord plays the part of a subordinate in his transcendental sporting. And thus sometimes he puts himself in the care of Yashoda Mata, of his mother Yashoda, for his protection and his so-called helplessness of childhood, right? So Krishna, he plays the role of the child for Yashoda. He plays the role of the younger cousin to Yudhisthira. He says that is the transcendental Leela, or pastime of the Lord. The basic principle for all transcendental exchanges between the Lord and his devotees is exhibited to enjoy a transcendental bliss for which there's no comparison, even up to the level of Brahmananda, even up to the level of merging into that oneness and being free of all material suffering. That doesn't compare to the bliss that's there in these beautiful personal exchanges, wherein Krishna even becomes a subordinate to facilitate. I want to have the love where I'm the child and I'm receiving the love of the mother. I also want to experience that flavor of love where I am the younger cousin and Yudhishthira is my elder cousin. I want to experience that love. So he'll take those roles in order to relish that special taste within that
relationship.
It's beautiful, right?
You want to also speak about hierarchy, Kaustubha, a little bit? Because, a lot of times in America, we don't like the concept of a hierarchy and no one's above anybody. We're all the same. Can you speak? There is hierarchy, and you see it a lot. You talk about the elders, in the Vedic culture, they speak about elders. They speak about, juniors. So the question is, why must there be a hierarchy? And how is the hierarchy useful? And how does hierarchy have to do with bhakti? And isn't that just a way to externalize us and take us away from this spiritual self? And how does Krishna use the flow of bhakti and concepts of hierarchy? Can you explain that?
Well, yeah, I can say something, I suppose. We always there's always, again, there's the thesis, the antithesis, and then the synthesis. You have a thesis that there should be hierarchy because certain people, elders are generally more qualified and they have something to share with the younger people, and the younger people can benefit from gaining it, and therefore you have a social order, so to facilitate that, and then you have the antithesis, but that's being abused, so it should be rejected, right?
Right.
But we see that people don't handle that well, and they abuse their hierarchical positions, and people suffer because of it. So throw the whole thing out. But there is a place, where one can have, one can aim to hit that sweet spot where both are there, where there's a sense of junior and senior, and but without exploitation. And that's the kind of culture that we're meant to develop. And it becomes real important on so many levels, but particularly when it comes to bhakti, because bhakti is something that's shared from one heart to another, right? It's something that's awakened in one through their connection with another. And so therefore, within the culture of bhakti, this etiquette becomes very important. It becomes very important in being able to give devotion and to receive devotion.
Jumunajaya just quoted,
yeah.
I'll jump in quick before you.
Yeah, please.
Damodar Swami was just saying, in terms of hierarchy and culture, that respect flows up to our seniors and mercy flows down to the juniors. That's a nice way to put it.
Exactly. So to facilitate that flow, there's an etiquette that's in place. And if for instance, like you and I, like we were just saying, like we have a relationship, say with someone like Raghunath Swami, with others as well, but let's say, take that relationship. When we relate to him, just through the training that we understood, we naturally, it inspires us to kind of keep coming through with respect. And when a person in that position is feeling, they naturally come, there's a sense of affection in the heart. When a junior approaches a senior with respect and it's genuine, then the senior, their heart becomes softened by that. And naturally there's a flow, that there's a compassion and an affection that facilitates the flow. Let me share whatever I have with this person. They're ripe for it. They want it. I'm not even going to share these things with other people that aren't going to be able to benefit from it or appreciate it. But I can see that this person, it really is genuine and really let me share what I have. And so therefore that etiquette is there, and there's a beauty in that. There's a beauty on all three levels. There's a beauty in being the junior. There's a beauty in being the equal, and there's a beauty in being the senior.
When you create a culture that won't exploit those higher positions,
right,
then it actually becomes really beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen, Raghunath Swami relates to us sometimes. He'll treat us almost friendly. And it's our job, and he has the right to do that. It's our job or our prerogative, I'm sure you feel the same way, to want to be like, thank you, but I'm not your friend. I'm your servant. Yeah. Right? We don't want that position of friendship and buddiness and slap them on the back. We don't want that. We want to say, I want to be your servant. And in that mood, right, Krishna uses that to let the mercy of bhakti flow down. Yes. It's, you know, in the regular world, it's almost like you're trying to instruct a teenager. All parents of teenagers know this. I really don't think if you go to that party, I really think it's better not that you stay up late. Oh, yeah, I know. I got it. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, of course, I got it. Of course. When everybody's like answers with, yeah, I got it. Of course, I know. You can't tell them anything. If somebody already knows, you can't tell them anything. So in the mood of people who can actually fill your cup, we present ourselves in like as juniors. What do you think about this, Maharaj? We were thinking, like, for example, today, you and me, we're having a meeting with Raghunath Swami. And so even though we have a lot of, we think we're adults, we're like 54-year-old men, but our mood will be, and because we've already talked it through, is we're thinking this, but we would like to hear what you think, and we fully trust your opinion. And in that, if you set up your questions like that, it allows mercy to flow. And when you think, let me tell you my plan, then it's gonna put a dam. It's gonna, like the Erie Canal, they have those locks.
Clogs it up.
Clogs up the drain.
Clogs up the drain.
Mara, what do you think?
Yeah. I defer to you guys. You're my teachers.
Good answer.
She's just playing it like that. Okay.
She's learned everything we've taught her.
So there's another thing in this verse too that I also want to draw out.
Yeah.
Again, when Maharaj Yudhishthira is referred to, what is he called? Ajata
Shatru.
That person who had no enemy. He's the king. He's in this big war. He's been, but again and again, they refer to him with this name, right?
He had no enemies.
It's
interesting because you think, well, he's a king. He's got to have some enemies.
Right. He had no enemies. People may have seen him as an enemy, like Duryodhana, but he never saw Duryodhana as an enemy, actually.
Yeah, he actually spoke kindly about Duryodhana.
He was always trying to seek peace, and that, we just need to draw a circle around that right there. If you read Mahabharata, and we encourage everyone to give that a read, that get that Krishna Dharma translation, and read about Yudhishthira. There's so much there that we can carry into our lives. Try to understand his mood. Try to understand his qualities, his character. See how much. Just imagine how nice it would be to have a mentality like his. To be free of the kind of stuff that clouds our thinking. So his thinking is, I have no enemy. And just when I was reading that, I on Patreon. Did we mention Patreon today? I don't know if we did, but
we didn't mention Patreon today. It's all right.
So if people want to go deeper into these studies, we have readings and classes on Patreon, and people can become a sponsor there at any level. And I posted a class that I gave at the Bhakti Center last Sunday.
Got a lot of feedback on that.
It was such a great, series of verses, and the verse that I focused in on was spoken by Prahlad, the young boy saint, speaking to his father Hiranyakashipu, the evil ruler, who's actually been trying to kill Prahlad again and again and again, and trying to train Prahlad in the mentality.
About an evil ruler. He's trying to kill his son.
He's trying to kill his son, and he was trying to kill his son because his son failed to be trained well in the mentality of demoniac sea enemy mentalities. So Prahlad says this to his father, which is a dangerous thing for him to be saying and everything, but he just says it peacefully. He says, my dear father, even though his father's trying to kill him, right? My dear father, please give up your demoniac mentality. Do not discriminate in your heart between enemies and friends.
Discriminate means like discern.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
Make your mind equipoised towards everyone. Now he says this. Draw a circle around this. You ready, Raghu?
Ready.
Except for the uncontrolled and misguided mind, there is no enemy within this world.
Drop
Right.
the mic. That's
Boom. Focus right there. Like if you got a battle to fight, that's where the battle is. Then he says, when one sees everyone on the platform of equality, one then comes to the position of worshiping the Lord perfectly. Right? Equal on a spiritual level. On the material level, we'll see junior, senior, this, that. But on the spiritual level, I see everyone equally. And so the enemy of the mind is defined in two ways. When Srila Prabhupada goes into this purport, he says that there are 6 enemies, right, to the mind. Do you know what they are? He says there are 6 enemies at one point, and he identifies those 6 enemies. Can you say what the 6 enemies
Jesse James, Al Capone,
are?
Idi Amin.
Gangsters.
Idi Amin. Lust, greed, anger, Loba, Kama, Krodha, Loba, Moha. Kama, Krodha, Loba, Moga.
Say them in English.
Lust, greed, anger, envy, madness, illusion or delusion.
Yeah, that's it. You got it.
They're the original contaminants of the jiva.
They're called Arishad Varga, I believe, the 6 enemies, right? That these are the enemies that we focus on. And then Prabhupada also defined it in another way too. He said also, you could say the 5 senses in the mind make up the 6. That's what, when we started today talking about controlling and how our eagerness to control things, even things that we can't control, creates frustration and mental, tension and so on. But this is the one thing that we can control, and the one thing that can be actually our enemy, that's really preventing us from experiencing our true good fortune, is what's going on in the mind, or being controlled by the senses in the mind. And so if we have a battle to fight, that's the battle right there. That's the battle to focus on. And if we focus there, we can be successful, and we'll find that happiness, we'll find that peace. We'll be able to, as the verse said, when we'll be able to come to the position of worshiping the Lord perfectly, of connecting with our divine source perfectly, if we can overcome that enemy.
That was beautiful.
It's such a great point, isn't it? What a verse.
That was a good point. And I'm getting pressure from Mara right now. Raghunath, you got to think of the final championship trivia question. Here it is.
Okay.
For our 108th episode. How many people we have listening today? We have 120. For our 108th episode, get by your computer keyboards. Are you ready? This is the hard one. On Arjuna's chariot. This is a double question. On Arjuna, who was on Arjuna's flag on his chariot, and who was on Duryodhana?
Boom.
What was on Arjuna's flag on his chariot, and wait a second, don't write yet. And what was on Duryodhana's flag? You got to get them both. So if you've already said Hanuman, you got to get them both. What was on Duryodhana's?
Hanuman was on Arjuna's. Who's got Duryodhana's?
Got millions of our. And who got that first one?
They are stumped.
There's some Krishna Drew is on this. She wants both prizes. She's like, I'm not going home with one prize. I want them both. Vivi's good. She's fast. Aravind.
Nobody's got it. That means they're looking it up right now.
No, you're not allowed to look up.
They're Googling.
Okay, I'm gonna have to give that one. It's a cobra. A cobra is on Duryodhana.
All right. Nobody got it.
No one got it. All right, we're gonna have to do this. All right, a cobra.
Now you're stuck. Now you're stunned.
Stuck. Oh, Krishna.
Yeah.
I don't want to make it too hard, but I want to make it too easy.
Ask a Srila Prabhupada related question, history, something like that. How's that sound? No?
No.
No? Okay.
All right, so read the next verse. I'll think of one, Kaustubha. Let's
right.
try to finish this chapter. I think we're almost done here.
Next verse.
I'll ask a question about
Out of
Mary.
profound affection for Lord Krishna, the Pandavas, who are of the Kuru dynasty, accompanied him on a considerable distance to see him off. They were overwhelmed with the thought of future separation. The Lord, however, persuaded them to return home, and he proceeded toward Dwarka with his dear companions. O Shaunaka, the Lord then proceeded towards the Kurujangala, Panchala, Surasena, the land on the bank of the river Yamuna, Brahmavarta, Kurukshetra, Matsya, Sarasvata, the province of the desert, and the land of scanty water.
Scanty water.
After crossing scanty, right there, there's a good word, right? After crossing these provinces, he gradually reached the Salvira and Abhira provinces. Then west of these, reached Dwarka at last. Final verse. On his journey through these provinces, he was welcomed, worshipped, and given various presentations. In the evening, in all places, the Lord suspended his journey to listen to sweet baby Krishna and then go to sleep.
Terrible.
No, he suspended his journey to perform evening rites. This was regularly observed after sunset.
Ready? Who disrobed Draupadi? Go. Who disrobed Draupadi? Who attempted to disrobe Draupadi?
Boom. Devaki got it.
Devaki, bum. She's
From
on
London, right?
Russian. Right. Devaki from London gets it.
All right.
All right, that's it.
So they're going to send you their address or something?
You got to send your addresses to Mara, and we will give out valuable prizes. Valuable prizes. We'll send you valuable prizes. We'll announce you again tomorrow on the show. And we also want to announce our special guest. Our Sunday interview is going to be the one and only
Hey,
Vishwambar.
you could. I was going to say you could just start playing the song and.
Oh yeah,
people got it.
Vishwambar's from the singer of the Mayapuris. I tell you, I love kirtan. The Mayapuris are like a full-on performance. I would joke, I'd call them the Backstreet Boys because they're all like good looking and they all dance. And how incredible musicians been doing kirtan. They've been playing kirtan since they were little children together. And now they're all grown up and married with kids, and they're just like, these guys are so phenomenal. They have 2 great CDs coming out. And Vish has like this very unique story. He was like a child in Vrindavan. I think his mother's American, his father's Indian. And he grew up leading kirtans like at age 3. He was on Padayatra, which is where they walk to holy places. This is what he was doing at age 3. And he would go into villages with like hundreds of devotees and lead kirtans. Like imagine seeing like this 3-4-year-old kid, 5-year-old kid just singing. It's like, anyway, he's still the same wonderful guy. And so we're going to dive deep into his life and hear his realizations. And he will be on Sunday's show, which is our Sunday Sleep In Sunday show. And Kaustubha, you want to share anything? Like cue up this song? He's like, oh.
Thank you, Raghunath, for 108. Thank you, everyone. We're very grateful to everybody that tunes in. So this is our 108th episode, and I'll take that as an occasion to really share my gratitude to everyone that wakes up early or that doesn't wake up early but that tunes in later. The thousands of people, actually.
Thousands of people. It's unbelievable.
Wisdom of the Sages.
It's a baby. It's a sweet baby Krishna miracle. By the way, Wisdom of the Sages is a listener-supported, that's you, listener-supported podcast. If you'd like to support us in any way, join our Patreon community. We really appreciate it. We are getting very serious about doing this and spreading this all over the world and making this the preferred podcast that you download. Not because we are the sages with the great wisdom, but the sages are within these pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Let the Bhagavatam enter your heart, into your mind, and direct us towards better choices. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. And congratulations to all you valuable prize winners. I think we should have trivia once a week. What do you think? Spiritual
down.
This is Vish singing right
No,
now.
this is actually. Oh, Bali sings that one part though. You know, we
That's
got to get
Bali?
that straight. Well, maybe that's Vish right there. I think.
Well, we're gonna have to ask them who's singing what. This sounds like Vishwambar.